I just wanted to show you a couple things that I've done. I rerouted my hood struts for the engine compartment because I wanted to add this lip here. So a lot of people don't do this lip. I just wanted to clean it up because you look down, it's just a big airspace in there. So, and even like Torchcraft Marine, they don't even put this in. Just like leaves a sharp edge right there for people to nick their arms on, whatever. So I added this, and then I added this little standoff piece as well. What it is, it's just inch by 3 inch by 1/16, actually 1/8. And I just made a little channel. I riveted it there, 2 stainless steel rivets, and then I just used 2 of 1024 screws with nylocks underneath. So same distance, 4 inches up to center of here, and 14 inches down to center on there. So the hood struts that came with 2 different pieces, a 90-degree angle, so this one's a 90, and this one is just straight, if you can see that. It's just flat. So that's what these hood struts came with. They're from Amazon. 16 inches, 65 pounds each. That being said, close this. And I did put pump guards on yesterday. So those are an OD of 1 7/8, 60-63 aluminum, so it bends. And I did do a little skid plate there. I keep it a 1/4 inch away from the stomp grate, and it's fully welded underneath these seams. I don't feel the need to go all the way on there. Whatever you do, you don't want to blow a hole in these tubes because it's a bitch. So there's a little skid plate. It comes to about here, just under, like halfway under the nozzle or so. So that being said, now I am working on some corner caps for the engine, or just for the top. So I'm also going to do some up here. I'm just going to do a skinny one here, and I'll probably cut a nice radius around, or just angle it here. Haven't gotten there yet, but this is because these boats don't have a bulkhead here, so there is a lot of twisting of the whole structure in the water, and I've heard horror stories of people's welds cracking right here. 2 people I know firsthand, both boats cracked welds right here, so I don't want that to happen. So even looking at, say, the Firefish boats, even the mini snappers have a little welded cap right on the back 2 corners. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take those on just to help that structure a little bit, and then I'm going to do the same in those 2 corners. All right, let's get it going. Yeah, I wanted to just show you guys something. Whenever you're welding these little pickets here, anything hollow and that you're sealing up, you might get a little hole on the very last little bit. And an easy way to be able to weld over that hole, you could try and you will never ever get it unless you throw a little bit of just a zap of MIG weld just to close it. But if you're TIGging, you're never going to close that. So take a drill bit. This is probably like 3/16 or something. I know nobody's looking underneath this gunnel ever. So I'm gonna drill a hole straight through. One-handed. Kind of want to go down. Okay. Now, this piece of tubing is not closed. It's not closed up. It's got airspace going right down. So now I'm going to be able to close this gap now. There you have it. Gap closed. Tricks and tips. I should start a YouTube channel called Tricks and Tips. Oh, wait a minute. There already is one called Tips and Tricks. Well, I bet she hasn't. Blah, blah, blah. I can't even freaking talk right now. Anyway, I'm working on the last bit of welding I plan on doing on this boat. Just these handrails. I did my corner caps, both sides there. For these ones, I didn't want my windshield to bow in with the heat. Sometimes it can warp, so I just threw some angle on there. Be careful not to move this around and scratch the aluminum with carbon, because then you will have impurities in it. So there's that guy. Just need to clean it up with the Scotch-Brite. This little corner cap here. There we go. I'm not going crazy with nav lights or anything, so I picked up some little 1-inch LEDs, green and red, and they're gonna go there, one on the front, one on the side, on each side, and then I will tie in and drop the line down there. All right, one more post to do, actually 2 more, and then I'm gonna work on this side. All right, let's go. Hey guys, so today is fuel cell day. Finally got it back from the forum shop. I made it 70 or 72 degrees to contour to the side of the boat, just to add a little more fuel than, like, I think the last boat I had the 80-liter tank from Jetstream. So this is the same height and width across the bottom, but I figured if I add the angle to it, I'm gonna get a bunch more gas in this section. So I found by the time I get across the lake all the way up and back, all the way up the river, all the way down, and then all the way back across the lake, full throttle. Of course, you know, I could put an eco mode on this boat, but I was damn near out of fuel by the time I got back. So, and the other fuel cell comes pre-formed and cut for your fuel sending unit, and that was in the center. So when your ass end's a little lower in the water, even $20 in gas, I couldn't even drive the boat because it was saying low fuel, and it wasn't sucking anything. So this one, I'm gonna put my sending unit in the middle at the back of the boat. And yeah, so I'm gonna get ready to cut that hole. I was gonna go center, and then I realized my harness will be facing the side of the boat, not towards the center where it's going to be, the harness is going to be coming from. So I shoved it over a little bit. I've got enough room here on that 90-degree angle side for my float to come up, not be obstructed, and at least my harness will be facing forward. So next up, cut that hole, cut another hole for my breather, and then another hole for the fuel fill. All right, fun times. And another thing I also did was got my battery tray mounted and my mount for all the fuse box and factory fuses. Yeah, so that is right here. Battery tray. I'm gonna utilize the factory rubber straps that come with the Sea-Doo. I just welded a couple of brackets underneath the channel and just stainless steel rivets. And then this will be fuses, and there's another thingy that goes there. And then this is for the factory fuse box. It will come up and slide down onto these prongs. And then I also have these tabs drilled out for zap straps. Zap strap will hold that box in because it doesn't have any holes for mounting it. And then a couple more holes just to mount a zap strap, the harness coming off of this thing. And I can tie it down so it's not really moving around too much. But yeah, that is that. And I'll show you again once it's all in. But my next thing in order is to get the fuel cell in. I'd mount one more thing on the back, and then wiring time. So fuel cell first, let's go. video. So welding this ring on, I built this fuel cell out of 1/8 thickness 5052. I didn't really bother welding the baffle into the sides and top or vice versa. It's just stitched along the bottom just enough that it's not gonna break away while fuel's being smashed against it. That being said, welding this ring on, I did brace here across the top because I know just from tacking it, it was lifting and sinking, lifting more than anything. So I braced along the top, and that'll keep my fuel cell flat against the table as well. So there's no twisting and warping either. So coming up, I started here, coming up this side, I noticed it was starting to hump over like this. And then when you get to this section here, it's so tight, it's not gonna hump too much with the heat. But by the time I got around to here, the surface was caved way down like this. That's why this is there now. So now this has to stay clamped down until it's completely cooled. And then I can remove this and see if it took that shape naturally. Hopefully it didn't. Hopefully it just flattens out once it's cold. And then I can start to weld in the fuel fill and my breather. All right. And yeah, then I have to weld a piece of angle here and then a piece of angle inside on the transom. That will bolt it to the transom. And then on the lower forward side, and put a piece of angle down there and bolt it to the stringer. And I'm also going to run support going from the stringer over towards the back and one there, just forward, just underneath and forward a bit from the front of the fuel cell. That way I can sit on it and be bolted to it. All right, it's going. This is the last piece of the fabricating puzzle on this boat. Once the fuel cell is in and the filler tube is in and it's bolted down, I can then drill a hole in the side of the boat for the fuel fill and the breather. I want those directly in line with this tube. I don't want to have my fuel hose going off on an angle or anything. I just want it going straight up and out. The straighter it is, the less chance of fuel spilling because these small fuel fills, they're only like 1.5 inch OD. So there is some fuel spill out, and if you like got that nozzle just cranked and there's any turbulence or backflow. So yeah, last pieces of the puzzle. Stoked. After this is done and bolted in, the last 2 holes are drilled, I can start wiring. Basically, I'm gonna drop the motor in. I'm not gonna align it or anything yet. Just gonna set it there and start running wires. First things first, before I actually do that, I'm gonna throw the bilges in and whatnot, get everything sort of on the transom. That small intercooler can stay out, exhaust can stay out. I'm gonna run my steering cable, get everything glued up on the transom that I want. So trim cable, steering cable, sand trap exit, and IBR is gonna have to wait because I just don't have the parts yet, but everything glued up with Sikaflex 291. Then yeah, it's just bolting shit down. Bolting things down, wiring it up. Plumbing is last, all the coolant hoses and stuff, that's super straightforward, but I'll go over all of it. All right, let's go. Hey, so I didn't film the last little bit welding the rest of whatever's on the fuel cell, the fill line and the, whatchamacallit. God, I'm trying to blank. Can't think these days. Too much welding aluminum, I think. My vent line. So what happened was I just moved this over, kept that clamp on there while I welded this, and by the time I got here, this end started to sink in just from the heat. So now I blew off and cleaned my bottle jack. Got my bottle jack in there. If I can find my flashlight. God, I cannot find anything in this shop. Here we go. Flashlight. Bottle jack. So I'm lifting this right here, and now it is humped so much that it's rounded, and this is kicking off that way. But I'm gonna let it cool like that, and when I take that bottle jack out, I pretty much guarantee you I will be flat right across the top. I think the next one I build, before I tack anything all together, I'm gonna put like some 1 inch by 1/8 by 1 inch flat bar. Flat bar go across there, just tack across the top, and that'll keep this from humping and warping. Yeah. So that being said, this thing is completely welded out. I just went quick. I didn't worry too much about profile on this side because it's going to be against the wall and against the transom, so I made sure I went slower and made the welds prettier where they're going to be visible. And I'll take my Scotch-Brite and just wire brush it a little bit and clean up all that weld. And that is that. I guess tomorrow is installation time and probably start wiring tomorrow. Peace. Hey y'all, so I have just finished final cleanup, final everything for fab and welding. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So since my last video, yes, there's the panel for all my electrical, and my fuel cell is finished. All the mounts are finished, so I'm going to be bolting it there. The supports underneath the whole thing, I'm bolting it to the transom, and my heat exchanger is going there. Fuel water separator, I'll be running a hose from here, behind here, and then coming out here, and then pretty much straight in line to the engine. Sand traps mounted. I'm going to start mounting everything else. Sikaflexing everything going through the hull. Steering cable is finally in, and yeah, it's pretty much go time for electrical right now. I'm going to plop the motor in, and then actually no, I'm not. Sorry, scratch that. I'm going to wire up all my accessories first. Weld the motors out and not in my way. So bilge pumps, blower. Yeah, get all that dealt with. The trim is actually going to be mounted underneath the back, just right there through those two holes. Can't see it, but anyway, that's going to go there. There is a splash guard underneath. Let's go have a look. I just threw a little coat of paint on it. So, bolting through there, splash guard, because it's right on the other side of the vent. So I'll show you where this is going to go. Basically, right like this, right under here, just like so, and then the line will come out and through the transom. All right, so I got a few things to wire up, get my grounds, get my powers, all that sort of stuff ran, and then it's go time. Should be in the water in a couple weeks, if nothing gets in my way, like your day-to-day priorities, wife and children. All right, peace, thanks for watching, and I'll keep you all up to date with wiring. I am not an electrician. I don't know much about it. I don't even know how to wire a relay. I never had to do one before. All these components and bilges and blowers, they're all like less than 5 amps of peak draw, so I never have ran a relay for them. I will probably, if I do lights, like for riding at night, I will have to do relays for that, I'm sure. And you know what? I can learn when I get there. For now, I don't have time. All right, thanks for watching, and yeah, this has been a long one. All right, peace.